Drawing number 8, cone complete with round branch. The round branch here intersecting the cone. This one here is truncated. We're going to make a pattern for the round branch and the whole pattern for it. We've done lots of cones already, so I don't think we need the cone pattern. But we'll get a little bit of that cone pattern when we do the whole pattern. Okay, so for this one here, we only need to draw half the view, and we'll do a full pattern for the wrap for the branch and a full pattern for the whole. So for this one here, we've gone ahead and drawn a little bit already. The space between them, I have gone 50 mil just to allow a little bit of room because I'm going to have to draw down below a little bit. I kept it fairly tight to the left because I'm going to just put my two patterns on here, so I want lots of room. So I'm about 10, 15 mil over. The radius here is 60. So double check, make sure your dimensions are correct. We got 60, 120 for the height, 120, and 70 for the branch sticking out from center, and a 25 radius, so that's a 50. I'm going to go ahead and put a center line on this 50 here. And we're going to start putting some element lines on these branches. One there. Draw this right to center. And come out a little further. The dividers here, make sure they're set to 25. Double check either end, make sure it touches there correctly. Looks pretty good. It's a little over. Go up a little bit. There we go. That's pretty close. I'm going to divide that out into 6. This just makes your 30, 60, 90s. I'm going to bring those all the way to center. Okay. The bottom here is really for the whole pattern, so maybe we'll do the bottom last. So for this one here is similar to the square branch that we did last time where we had all these different elevations. So basically at this elevation here, at the bottom where the branch intercepts, we're actually going to almost draw like an auxiliary view where we flip this down. So really what we're going to do is we're at this elevation, we're really just going to take it and flip it out. So we get a top view looking down at it right here. Okay. And I notice this should be connected here. Okay, so this is always the hard and confusing part. Set your compass here from the center all the way to the sloping side. And arc up. And the top, a little smaller from the center to the sloping side at that elevation. And bring that up. Okay. We're going to need to flip up this branch here and here, top and bottom. So what I need to do is just extend this down a little bit and up. And that's 25 mil. So I need to go 25 mil at the top and the bottom of that branch. Sometimes this baseline will confuse a few people. Just because it kind of gets in the way. We are going to have to extend the bottom here as well. And we'll extend the top. Looks like the top runs right into the top tangent of that radius there, right on the quadrant. Probably done that on purpose just to get the maximum shape out of this. Sometimes we do that. Let's see here. Actually, I should have drawn that line down below. That's okay. Realize that after I drew the other one coming up, this one's going to go up as well. That's okay. Okay, so we'll divide those out as well. And we will number these. Make it a little easier. Not always necessary to number, but we'll give it a number. I said the numbering is really important when you do the triangulation next year, just because there's so many lines that they have to be numbered. So we're just getting some element lines on here. We can number these here. We can do them now or later, but we can number this one. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down below. And number 4 does flip out, so this has to be 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 connects here. Number down below here, we've got 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this would be, oh, 2 6s there. 7. This is flipped out. That's flipped that way. 4, 3, 2, 1. Right. It's because that one's flipped down and that one's flipped up. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna run these element lines into this radius at this elevation, and we're going to run these element lines into this radius at that elevation as well. Let's run all those in. 7, 6, and then we're going to connect these at the top. we're going to draw these up from this curve. We're going to take these 4 points and bring them up to the bottom of this branch. A few lines on this one that gets a little bit confusing. There's a couple steps. I think there'll be another one coming up with the branch coming in on a slope, which will be a little confusing as well. And these always get better with practice. So throughout the year, if I've never done these, if it's been a while, I'll sit down and do one. It's what we do, so you have to be practiced, and to be good at something, you're gonna have to practice it. Try to get it as accurate as possible. And 4 touches at the end, so they'll be right there. Okay. Okay, so we're going to connect. Oh, I might have numbered these backwards here. 4, 5, 6, and 7. I did too. I thought that looked a little off. Four, 5, 6, 7. I knew right away when this 4 needed to connect a 4 up here. So that was pretty obvious. So we're going to go ahead and connect 4 to 4. From the elevation of the top of the branch and the bottom of the branch. Okay, for that one, we're going to connect, we got 5 and 3. We're going to connect 2. Those are just the next ones over. And 6 and 2, the last one. I ended up putting like I said, that baseline always becomes a little bit of a problem, doesn't it? There's that baseline. I saw that line coming over and I brought it up, and that was not necessary. So there's 6 there. So 6 and 2. Doesn't take much to add an extra line. There we go. So let's connect the dots here. We got 1 at the top, 2 with 2, 3 with 3, 4 with 4, and then 5 with 5, 6 with 6. Old 7 there down below. Okay, now there is essentially our round branch. Everything measures from the end of the branch here, not on the curve. So from here over, that is it. So we need to calculate for our stretch out. So we have 50 times pi. $157, and then increments in between, so we'll divide that by 2, 78.5, and divide that by 6. Distance in between, so 13. Okay, so the longest dimension here is about 50. So as long as we're 50 away from here, we'll be all right. Just gonna rub off a couple of these construction lines here. We don't need. A little broom would be nice. So from here, I'm just gonna go 50 over. We got lots of room here for a pattern on the other side. So I'm just gonna go from here up. And what we'll do is I'll probably flop this over. So I'm going to draw a line straight up this way, and we'll draw to the right. And we only need 157. So it's not like the square branch where we have to line up with anything. We're not duplicating that way. So we have 157 overall. So it doesn't really matter where we put it. Let's start from here. 155, 56, 57, and then we're basically dividing that out. So we're basically adding 13, 13 all the way through. Half is 78 and a half there, so 78 and a half. We can do the sloping line trick as well. That usually works pretty good. We'd have to figure out what divides what into, let's see, how else can we do that? Yeah, maybe we should probably do that. Just an easy way to do something. Draw a line across here. 12 divides into what? So we know it goes, well, what's 12? 12 times 15, 180. So if we had a line at 180, it's like that. We can just mark 15. So it's some easy math. 15, 30, 45, 60. It's just easier math this way. Easier to divide out. There's the end. So that divides into 12. This center one should line up there on center. This is always the quickest and easiest way to divide out a line evenly. Again, rolling that pencil, trying to keep it sharp. Okay, where do we want to have our seam? It's right on the shortest side, so number 7. So what we'll do is we'll go 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to center. 2, 3, 4. There we go. Now all we're going to do is take our compass here. From the end of our branch, do not measure from the curve because that will be completely incorrect. The straight vertical line to these dots. And these will be your true lengths at those elevations. So we'll start with 7. We'll do top and bottom, and we'll do the rest of them. 6 all the way up. Number 3 is pretty close. Just a millimeter shorter. It happened to land almost right on that line. So number 4 just looks a little pointy there where it just comes out. We'll go ahead and we'll snake these in. So that will come to a point there. Not much of a curve there. Looks a little flat, but curve that in. Again, it doesn't take much to be a little bit inaccurate there for your pattern to go out. Okay. So from this one, we just have to identify. So again, just your name, date, cone complete with branch. This is drawing number 8. This is a full pattern. We have a center line here. Put our quarter marks on here. Same with number 4 will be quarter marks. Bend lines, so we'll roll 2, so form to 50. Give it a direction. Let's put some shear lines on here. Burn lines, shear lines. And that should do it for that pattern. Okay, the whole pattern. So the whole pattern is going to come over here. So what we need to do is all these little dots here, we need to drop these down below. So down below we need to put some element lines down here as well. So let's divide this out. Into 3. Okay. Now I guess we can put some numbers down here. This will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 always goes with 3. 6 and 1 and 7 are always together. So wrapping around. So there's 1 and 7, 6 and 2, 1, 7, 6, 2, 4. 4 is your end. Okay, so we're going to drop these down to 4, and then we'll bring a line over where it intersects. So coming down from the top. I wonder if I should use my pen here. There's 7. There's 6. I'm just going to bring these right to that line. There's 5. Really make sure your T-square is good. Mine just flipped up and the square slid underneath. There's 4. 4 is the, looks like it's the furthest one. I think in the computer layout, 3 is actually a little bit longer. But it all depends on how accurate you are here. So, like I say, it doesn't take much to be 1 mil out or 2 mils out. So, I might even be just a little bit out from the template there. So that would just be the accuracy of the pencil and the measuring. So mine's just ever so slightly out because according to the how-to, the 3 should have been on the other side of 4. So I'm a few mil out here for this one. We're going to keep going here. I'm going to stop now. All right. So we're going to bring these through. A little busy there, I know. And we'll number these on the outside. So I'm just going to keep going with what I got here. And this, if that was out there, that's going to change my whole pattern a little bit to the full scale drawing, but I'm just going to go with it. And if it's, because really we're going to measure along this arc, is kind of what we're doing. So otherwise 3 would have been just a little bit closer here to 4. So 3 would have been here, so it would have been just a little bit closer. So mine might be just a little bit further away. And we might be able to see that when we do the whole pattern. We might be able to correct there. Really, that should be there. So really, it's probably about 1.5 mils there. And that one was 3. 2 here. 2 here. Doesn't take much to get a little bit cross-eyed on this stuff. There's 2. 4, 3, 2. 1 is up here. So I guess we'll go with 5. So 5 is here. Go ahead, look for 5 up here. 5 comes down. 5 is right there. 2 is right there. So 2 is up top, which almost hits the exact same spot. It's definitely close between being with 2 here. This could be just a little bit more over the one way here, so I'm just gonna come a little bit further here with this one. There. We'll go with 5 for this one. And then 6 here. So looking for 6 up top, down, there's 6. Again, this is just a top view looking down, and if you connected all these dots, this is what the hole would look like. So since the hole looks like there, basically we're coming from the apex through the hole at this elevation of 4 and extending it out to this outside arc, because that's all we have to measure from. Okay, so now we need to do the cone here. Everything measures down from the sloping side, so we got to do some arcs here. Okay, so let's go ahead and put a center line here. Just grab off some construction lines. I don't think this is going to be too big. I think we need about 100 mil or so. I'm just going to go right about there. So about 110 from the edge of the page, so about 110 over should do it. Somewhere in the center there would be pretty good. Draw a line. Shouldn't be too big. We got to figure out an apex here. Doesn't really matter if we come off the top here or not. This might be a little higher up, but it really doesn't matter. I make a spot somewhere. Okay, so we need some arcs here. So from the apex to the base, again, there's that base, a little hard to see. This is the base here. Baseline. So from the apex all the way to the base, and that'll be right to here. Starting to get a few lines on the page here. Let's go ahead, right from the apex, make an arc. So this here is the baseline. And I'm going to go from the apex to 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way to the top on the sloping side. When the branch comes in at an angle, it's a little bit different. This will work for this. There's 7. Again, everything's on the sloping side. And did we put a top on here? Not sure if we did. There's no dimension for one. One had a 15 mil. That's okay. We'll leave the truncated top off. Won't worry about that. Okay, so we're going to measure along the bottom here. So 1 and 7 are obviously in the middle. And we need to measure 1, we got 2, 3, and what happened to 6 here? 6 is here. 1 to 2. (31 to 32). Maybe I shouldn't have wrote that right on there. It's going to be in my way here a little bit. I'm going to rub some of this off. There's 2, 3. The most flexible ruler here. 45, 46. Or the furthest one over. 53, 54. That's 4. 5. We got 2 more to go. It's just about 1.5 mils past 2. Last one is 6. It's about 18. Bring all these up to the apex. Full pattern here. Okay, these numbers here, so this will be 1 and 7. So 7 was the longest one, so this is 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So 1 is at the top, 7 is at the bottom, and then we're going to go 6, 6, 5, and 5, 3, 2, and 4 is on the outside. Okay, this is going to come to a little bit of a peak here. Like I said, the 3 probably could have been a little further out, so this could be a little further out probably. We'll probably see that when we go to snake. Might show up. Yeah, this shows up a little bit there. I'm just going to go a little wider on that one. You can see how the 3 was just a little bit off. Try to make it not so at the point down below. Up to 4 there. Trying to get that 5 in there. Like I said, sometimes if it's just looks a little funny, or if it's just a little bit out, it probably is. See, I just missed the 5 a little bit. That was that one. And when you're cutting a hole, maybe cutting the hole a little bit smaller might be a wise thing to do. Always cut a little more off after. Oh, missed my 5 there a little bit, even a little more than that one. Okay. Okay, so for this one here, just the same thing. Obviously we got a center line here, put the base line back on. Your name on here. Date. This is our round hole. We got a full pattern. This is drawing 8. Some quarter marks on here. Now we got some burn lines. That should do it. We got the top and the bottom, we got our center line, so we should be able to figure that out. Otherwise, we're forming this way, but we don't really have a form location unless we're down below here. So we do have a baseline, so that does indicate that. So we could always put a form to 60. There we go. So we just didn't truncate the top. To do the cone, all we'd have to do is measure out for the cone. I think that was 60, so 120 times pi. We'll be able to get that, come up, and then there would be our cone. So there's our hole. There's our branch. There's number 8.